I think it's a big honor that Mark would really appreciate, the fact that the Columbia Board of Realtors has decided to name their forum after him, because he enjoyed debating, whether it was friends or in a more formal setting, and he enjoyed discussing issues.
I think the first interviews probably that I did with him had to do with his political buttons, and he would come in and many of us knew that we had probably thrown away some in the past, thinking that these were no longer valuable, but to Mark they were like, this is a find, and he would tell you whether it was valuable or not.
One thing I'll really miss about Mark is he and I used to talk on the phone all the time, and especially during election night, we would call each other back and forth and text each other back and forth. So it was really hard to not have him this year to be able to talk about what was going on with the elections.
You know, Mark was a citizen, and I truly admired him because he firmly believed in the goodness of government. He believed in the goodness of citizens. He encouraged people to run for office. He encouraged people to read their local newspaper, to go to meetings, to debate each other, and in a civil way. And I think that if there's one legacy, and it's that he would hope that everyone would just be involved in the community, be involved in Columbia, know your neighbors, take care of your neighborhood, take care of each other.
Mark was a tireless worker and supporter of our industry. He helped new practitioners and seasoned practitioners understand the nuances and the importance of local elections and the nuances of ordinances.
Nobody in this town knew more about zoning, about regulations, about the minutiae of city government, especially as it related to if you've got a new development, if you're doing some real estate work, if there's a plot of land here, a plot of land there. Nobody knew more about that stuff than Mark.
Mark was a great communicator, and I saw him as a planning and zoning commissioner. I saw him at neighborhood meetings. We didn't always agree on issues. We didn't always see things the same way, but Mark always treated people with respect. He was always prepared when he was making an argument for a particular development or case or issue that he was involved with.
I really enjoyed working with Mark Farnen on development proposals and our debates about zoning policy. We didn't always agree, but I respected his positions, and I think that he respected mine. And he really knew the nuts and bolts. I don't think anybody, with the possible exception of the city's planning staff, understood the details of the Unified Development Code as well as Mark did.
I think that the one thing we all learned from Mark Farnen is that it's possible to find common ground. No matter how emotional the subject may be, there's a place in the middle where we can meet. Time and time again, we saw Mark turn enemies into allies and opponents into evangelists. That was his gift. I think we're all living in a time of great hostility right now. Too many people draw a line in the sand and take their stand without ever trying to experience what it's like to walk in the other person's shoes. Mark showed us how important it was for us to have empathy, humility, and to find common ground. I think that will be Mark Farnen's legacy in our community.
So I think that there's a big gap, there's a big hole in our community that I don't know who will fill that. I think there are other people who understand it like Mark did, but I don't think that there are other people who are able to communicate it like Mark did, nor have the willingness or the desire to communicate it. Somebody needs to model themselves after Mark so that they can do what we don't have being done right now.
His legacy is the fact that he's no longer here, and he's going to be so much missed, not only by people who are his friends, and of course his family, Eleanor and Lily, and his brothers and his sisters and his whole family, but by people who would always be like, oh, that's a job for Mark Farnen. That's Cole Farnen. He's the guy we need on this. That's his legacy.
He had that amazing sense of humor and the amazing ability to put people at ease and be able to say just about anything in the nicest way possible. And so I would like, particularly in these times, to see that Farnen factor grow, to treat people with respect, to treat people with excellent communication skills, and treat people the way we want to be treated. That's what I'd like to see, is just Mark's legacy as a great communicator and a positive person carried on.
Well, I'd say the number one legacy is his daughter, Lily. She's smart and great and very personable, just like him. And so obviously I think that'll be his top legacy. But also the friends that he left behind and the great memories that people have of him.
But it was always about the community with him. And that is a trait of a gentleman. And Mark fit the description of a gentleman.
He was just an exceptional person. I was very, very lucky to have him in my life. Very lucky. And I do want to say one more thing. I want to thank everyone who has written these incredible letters to me, incredible kindness. And I won't forget it.